Hi everyone, this is Amanda from Topwind Ranch, and today we're going to do a little segment on farriers. So we're going to do some tips and pointers to get your horse ready for their first farrier appointment, or if it's a new horse to you, what you can expect on your first time having the farrier come out. So Kristi from One9 Farrier Service, she is our on-site farrier, and she also services the southern Oklahoma area. So she's here today to trim Luna, and we're just going to go through some tips on getting your horse ready for their appointment and having them set up so that your farrier enjoys working with your horse. So the first thing that I always like to do is make sure that you can pick up your horse's hooves. So you shouldn't be calling the farrier to set up an appointment until after you can pick up all 4 of their legs and use a hoof pick and pick them out without your horse being scared of that. Then after that, once you know they're comfortable, what's important is on the day of the farrier appointment is allow yourself some time. Make sure that you can go out, catch your horse. If your horse is a horse that is a little bit more high energy, or this is their first appointment, I would recommend taking them, doing some groundwork or even a light ride, just getting some of their excess energy off so that they're more willing to stand quietly and comfortably while the farrier is working. They're really going to appreciate that. Especially if you have an anxious horse that might be dancing around or, just a little bit overall nervous, just getting off some of that extra energy so they're more willing to stand. The next thing that's really important is to make sure that your farrier has a clean, dry place to work. Concrete is going to be the best, but if you don't have a concrete or an indoor barn, just having a safe, hard, flat surface that's not muddy, not super tall grass, and a place that your horse is familiar with. You would not want to bring them across the property to a scary location on site for the farrier to come. We don't want our horse to be nervous for the farrier. We don't want them to be worried about everything else. We want them to be calm and focused for them. So after you go ahead and work your horse if you need to make sure that they're ready, make sure that their legs are clean. If they need to have their legs rinsed off if they're really muddy, otherwise just getting off the dirt that's on them and making sure that they're ready for the farrier to come. All right, and a lot of times it's going to depend on your farrier's preference and the horse's preference to if you need to hold them with the lead rope or if you're going to tie them up. So a lot of times I'm holding horses while she's working, and I would just make sure that while I'm holding that I am not texting, I am paying attention to the horse and the farrier. I am on the opposite side of the leg she's working on. So right now she's on the right leg, so I'm going to stand on the left side up here in the front. I can comfort my horse, kind of tell her it's okay, make sure that she's standing quietly and offer any corrections if needed. You want to be paying attention too, because as you can see, Kristi's working on a hoof stand, and when she's ready for the next foot, she'll need to move that. So just be paying attention and courteous that you step out of the way if she needs to, and being able to control your horse at the same time. If you're not sure or you're wondering what your farrier's preferences are, just ask them. They're going to be happy that you ask, and then they can tell you exactly what they like and how they work the best. One last tip that we thought about here as Luna's trying to be so cute is that we trust Luna to not bite or nip, but your farrier doesn't spend every single day with your horse, and so they don't know. A lot of times I just pull their nose a little bit away. I don't want them nuzzling or, they could bite, even if it's not being malicious or mean. We don't want them to grab a hold of her sweatshirt, grab a hold of her hair, put any weight on their back. Their job is already hard enough. We don't need to add any to it. So just make sure your horse isn't nibbling and minding their manners. Just offering a soft, easy correction to pull her head over and tell her where to stand. If your horse has any known issues or specialty things that the farrier should know, make sure that you tell your farrier in advance. So if you have a horse that maybe has stiff joints or has one leg that has some arthritis that they might have a hard time holding up for long periods of time, let your farrier know right away, because they'll make a plan to be able to complete your horse the safest way and the happiest way for the horse and the farrier. If you have a horse that has a kicking problem or maybe it has one leg that they just really are nervous about, just tell them in advance. If you've had any vet checks or issues with the horse like navicular, founder, or anything like that too, make sure you let the farrier know that prior to their appointment so they can bring the right tools for the job. The last thing we wanted to say is ask your farrier their preference for scheduling. Some farriers like to schedule your next appointment at their current appointment. This will keep you on a good rotation. Your farrier will also be able to suggest the best time frame for your appointment. So some horses need trims frequently, maybe every 4 to 6 weeks. The rest of, most standard horses will need it every 6 to 8. So ask your farrier what they think your horse needs and then get on their schedule right away. That will make sure that your horse doesn't get off schedule and doesn't have any issues with their feet from just not getting a trim. Having frequent farrier appointments is something that you're going to have for the rest of your horse's life. It's one of the most important things for that horse's maintenance, because if you don't have good hooves, you don't have a horse to ride. So it's really important to establish a good relationship with your farrier, because they're somebody that you're going to see multiple times a year, pretty much forever.
Yep, we care just as much about the horse as the client, so we want to make sure that there's a good working relationship there and you're not afraid to ask any questions. You know, we're always welcome to answer them, and whatever you want to learn, most of us are pretty happy. So if you have any questions you want to ask now, though, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer.
Absolutely. So thank you guys all for watching, and we'll see you next time.